I returned home after nearly losing a finger in a factory malfunction. My wife looked at me up and down and said, "Guess that's one less finger to point blame with." I said, "I was trapped for 2 hours." She scoffed, "So you had a break." Boo-hoo. That night, I laid in silence as she ordered $60 sushi on my card and said, "I deserve this for dealing with your pathetic energy." My name's Kent Maddox. I'm 47. Lived in Toledo, Ohio my whole damn life. Grew up on Hillcrest Avenue. My dad was a mechanic, my mom a hairdresser. I fix things for a living now too. Been working the same factory line since I was 25. We stamp brake brackets for pickup trucks. Loud, oily work. Real blue-collar stuff. Been married 19 years. To Marlena. We met at a coffee shop downtown. She was 23, had this sun-streaked hair and a laugh that made people turn their heads, not because it was loud, but because it was genuine. She used to smell like sugar cookies. Worked in a bakery. Wore these goofy bandanas on her head. I fell hard. We got married quick, less than a year. Fast forward nearly 2 decades, and I'm standing in our driveway, holding my left hand up in a clumsy, stiff bandage. I'm still in my oil-stained work pants. My boot laces are dragging. My hand's throbbing like it's got its own heartbeat. The door creaks open, and there she is. Marlena doesn't say hi, or "Oh my God," or "What happened?" Her eyes flick down to my hand, then back up to my face like she's trying to figure out how dramatic I'm being. "Guess that's one less finger to point blame with," she says, and walks into the kitchen. I blink. Just stand there in the doorway, letting the cold air in. I'm stunned. Not because she said it. Hell, I expected something snide, but because of how casual she was about it. Like I'd just told her the toaster was broken. I was trapped, I say finally. For 2 hours. She snorts. So what? You had a break. Boo-hoo. I walk in slowly, breathing through the pain and the humiliation burning in my chest. I sit down on the recliner, the one with the stuffing coming out the side. She's already plopped on the couch, feet up, scrolling her phone like I don't exist. Doctor says I'll probably keep the finger. I offer. But it's gonna be stiff. Might not ever bend right. "Does that mean you can't do dishes anymore?" she says without looking up. "No. It means I'll be in pain for a while." She shrugs. "Well, welcome to the club." Later that night, I'm lying on the couch, hand elevated, pain meds finally kicking in. I hear her laughing at some reality show in the next room. Then the DoorDash notification dings on her phone. 10 minutes later, she's at the table with a tray of sushi, fancy stuff, too. Toro, uni, all that crap I can't even pronounce. "This costs $60, she says, pouring soy sauce into a little dish. "But I deserve it. For dealing with your pathetic energy." I don't respond. I just lay there, silent, the bandage itching, my dignity peeling off like sunburn. It wasn't just that night. That was just the boiling point. The truth is, it had been building for years. Marlena hadn't touched me in months. I don't mean just sex. I mean, literally, she hadn't so much as grazed my arm walking past me. She'd look through me at dinner, criticize the way I chewed, sigh when I brought up anything about work. Once, when I mentioned a coworker got laid off, she said, "At least someone's getting a break from that hellhole." We'd sleep in the same bed, but feel like we were in different states. She had this way of pulling the covers toward her like it was a symbol, like she was claiming the space, leaving me with the cold sheet edge. The worst part? I got used to it. Our son, Dane, noticed it too. He's 17 now. Keeps to himself mostly. Headphones in, hoodie up, always gaming or texting someone. He used to ask me to play catch or go for a drive. Now he barely speaks. One night, I knocked on his door. "Hey bud, you eat?" "Yeah," he said, not looking up. "Mom got pizza." I hadn't even known. I had been sitting in the garage, drinking a warm beer and staring at the pegboard like it was going to offer me life advice. "You want to talk?" I asked. He shrugged. "I'm good." I just stood there, hand still sore, heart even sorer. "Okay, let me know." But he didn't. I don't know when I stopped being someone in this house and started being just furniture. Something they stepped around. After the accident, I took a couple weeks off. Doctor's orders. I sat around the house a lot. Cleaned. Cooked. Fixed a loose banister on the stairs. Reorganized the garage. Marlena said I was hovering. Asked if I had anything better to do. One day, I saw a name flash on her phone. Owen. Didn't recognize it. Didn't think much of it. Could have been a coworker. But then it popped up again the next night. And again, I started noticing little things. Her giggling at messages. Putting on makeup before going to the store. New clothes I didn't recognize. So I started paying attention. Not obsessively. Just carefully. She'd leave for errands and be gone for hours. Came back once with groceries, but no receipt. Another time she came back empty-handed and said, "Oh, they were out of what I needed." I checked the car mileage once. She'd gone 23 miles for a quick run to CVS. The CVS is 3 miles away. Still, I said nothing. I needed to be sure. I needed proof. Not for the drama, but because something inside me, something long dead, was waking up. Some last ember of pride. Then one afternoon, She left her laptop open on the dining table. And there he was. Owen. Dozens of messages. Flirty, cruel, personal. You really put up with his whining? He's harmless. It's just like living with a soggy towel. Can't wait to see you. Last night was amazing. My hands shook. My heart pounded. But I didn't yell. Didn't throw the laptop. I just closed it gently and walked to the bathroom. I stared at myself in the mirror for a long time. Bandaged hand. Wrinkled face. Tired eyes. This is who I'd become. A soggy towel. I splashed water on my face and muttered, not anymore. The next morning, I called off work again. Blamed the hand. But the truth was I needed time. Not to rest. To think. To plan. Marlena left around 10:30. Said she was meeting a friend for coffee. Who? I asked casually. She blinked, just for a second. Tasha. I nodded. Tell her I said hi. She raised an eyebrow, studying me for a second like she was trying to figure out if I was being sarcastic. Then she grabbed her keys and left. I waited 5 minutes. Then I went to the garage and got in my truck. Now, I'm no detective. I didn't even know what I was going to do, honestly. But I had a rough idea of the direction she always turned onto when she was running errands. And I figured I'd just drive around a bit. About 15 minutes later, I spotted her car, parked in the lot of a little diner on the outskirts of town. Not a place she'd ever taken me. I pulled into a gas station across the street and sat in my truck, engine off, watching. 10 minutes passed. Then he showed up. Mid-30s maybe. Too much gel in his hair. Lean build. Tight jeans. He walked up to her window, tapped twice, and she smiled like I hadn't seen her smile in a decade. She got out, kissed him on the cheek, and they walked in together. Something about that moment, seeing her look happy, not just okay, but lit up, it didn't even make me mad. It broke me. I went home. Quiet. Calm. But something inside me had shifted. That ember in my chest? It was catching flame now. That night, I asked Dane if he wanted to go get burgers. He looked surprised. With just us. Yeah, just us. He shrugged, but I saw the corner of his mouth twitch. That almost smile. Sure. We didn't say much during the drive, but over the burgers, he started opening up. Things have been weird lately, he said, picking at a fry. Yeah, they have. I hear you guys at night sometimes. Fighting. I nodded. I'm sorry you have to hear that. I don't know why she's always so mad at you. That caught me off guard. You noticed that? He shrugged again. I'm not blind, Dad. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He had her eyes. Her bone structure. But there was something different there. Softer. Kinder. Thanks, I said. For saying that. He didn't say anything back, but he didn't look away either. That was enough. Over the next week, I started quietly preparing. I opened a new checking account. Rerouted my direct deposit. Changed passwords. Got in touch with a divorce lawyer. A sharp woman named Terry Phelps. She was calm, professional, and didn't ask a lot of questions. Just facts. Paper trail. Dates. You're going to need to document everything, she told me. I started keeping notes. Time she left. Expenses she charged. Screenshots of texts she carelessly left open. I wasn't trying to hurt her. Not yet. I just wanted to be ready. One afternoon, I got home before her and noticed a delivery at the door. New throw pillows. $60. On my old card. Inside, the sushi bill was on the counter from the night before. $84. 3 rolls, 2 appetizers, sake. That night, she walked in smelling like perfume I didn't recognize. How was Tasha? I asked. She froze for half a second. What? You said you were meeting Tasha. Oh, yeah. Fine. I stared at her. Cool. She narrowed her eyes. Why are you being weird? I'm just trying to make conversation. Well, don't. She snapped, tossing her purse on the floor. Your tone SCKs. I nodded. Got it. She poured herself a glass of wine and disappeared into the bedroom. A few days later, she was on the phone with someone in the kitchen. I was in the next room, out of sight, but I could hear every word. No, he hasn't said anything. He's so oblivious, it's like living with a ghost. He barely even makes eye contact anymore. I could probably move Owen in here and he wouldn't notice. Silence. Then laughter. I know. It's sad. But whatever. I'm doing what I need to do. Another laugh. Yeah, I'll be there by 7. Can't wait. I stood there for a long time after she hung up. Not sad. Not angry. Just clear. Later that night, Dane found me in the garage. Hey, he said, tugging off his earbuds. You okay? Yeah, I said, setting down the wrench. Just thinking. You and Mom. Are you splitting up? I looked at him. He didn't flinch. I think we might be, I said. He nodded slowly. Okay. You okay with that? He hesitated. I mean, yeah, I kind of figured. I don't want to pick sides. You won't have to, I said. But I'd like to stay close. See you often. He bit his lip. Can I live with you? I stared at him. You want that? He looked down at his shoes. She doesn't really talk to me. Like at all. I feel like I'm just in the way when she's home. I swallowed. Of course you can. He looked relieved. Cool. We stood in silence for a while before he said, she's been texting that Owen guy a lot. I blinked. You know about that? I see the notifications. She doesn't even hide them anymore. I sighed. Yeah, I know. He nodded like that was all he needed to hear. I didn't say anything else. Just reached over and patted him gently on the shoulder. For the first time in a long time, he didn't pull away. After that night in the garage, things started moving faster. Or maybe I just started noticing time again. Every look, every scoff, every lie sharper, louder, more obvious than ever before. Marlena stopped pretending. She used to at least put on the face, the fake smiles, the half-hearted small talk. Now, she didn't even bother. She came home later, went straight to the bedroom, locked the door. Sometimes I'd pass by and hear her on the phone, laughing softly. I knew the laugh. I hadn't heard it in years, not directed at me, anyway. One afternoon, she came out wearing a tight black top and makeup heavier than usual. You going somewhere? I asked, watching her clip earrings in by the mirror in the hallway. She didn't even turn around. Out. With who? She rolled her eyes. A friend. You wouldn't know him. So that was it. No more hiding. No more Tasha. No more fake stories. And just like that, something clicked in me. Not anger. Not heartbreak. Just resolve. I started preparing the house. Quietly. I began making copies of everything. Our mortgage paperwork, bank statements, credit card bills. I had my own account now, and I was stashing every extra dollar. I canceled the joint Netflix and set up my own. Changed my Amazon password. Logged out of everything I could think of. Then I started taking pictures. The house, the car, the receipts. Even the wine bottles she left out. The sushi bills. It was all going in a folder, digital and printed. Terry, my lawyer, told me to keep records. I wasn't trying to catch her in a scene Dow. I just wanted to build a timeline. To be ready. One morning, I got up early. Earlier than usual. Marlena was still asleep, or pretending to be. I made coffee, sat at the table, and opened the folder of texts again. I had more than enough. Even screenshots of her and Owen talking about vacations, what kind of mattress to get when it's finally just us, and mocking the way I snored. It wasn't just cheating. It was contempt. Later that day, Dane and I went to the hardware store. Just an excuse to be out of the house. He helped me load some plywood into the truck, and on the ride back, he said, "She's gonna lose it when you tell her." Yeah, I said, keeping my eyes on the road. He leaned his head against the window. You scared? I took a deep breath. Not anymore. She won't take it well. No, I agreed. She won't. She might try to make you look bad. I glanced at him. You know what kind of person I am. That's all that matters. He nodded. I want to stay with you. You already said that. I mean it. Back home, Marlena was on the phone when we walked in. She saw the plywood and rolled her eyes. What the hell is that for? We remodeling now, handyman? Nope, I said. Just fixing up some things. She walked off without another word. That night, she left again. Said nothing. Just grabbed her keys and slammed the door. I stood there at the window, watching her tail lights fade down the road. I turned to Dane. You hungry? He grinned. Can we do burgers again? So we did. We sat at the same booth, and I realized I hadn't laughed with anyone in months. Maybe years. Dane was funny when he let his guard down. Dry, sarcastic, but clever. I saw pieces of myself in him. And even more, I saw someone I didn't want to lose. When we got home, she was already back. Sitting on the couch, arms crossed, wine glass half full. Out bonding with your little psychic, she said. I didn't reply. Don't think you're fooling anyone with your new routine. You think just because you've suddenly started playing Super Dad I'm supposed to forget the last 5 years. You mean the 5 years you've spent loathing me? She laughed bitterly. You're such a victim, Kent. Always have been. It's exhausting. I didn't flinch. Then leave. She stood up, eyes narrowed. Excuse me. I said leave. If I'm so pathetic and worthless and exhausting, go. Be with Owen. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I watched the realization sink into her face. My tone wasn't desperate. It wasn't begging. It was final. You've been spying on me, she said quietly. I've been documenting, I said. For court. She went pale. You want a war? She whispered. No. I want peace. But if it has to be a war, I'm ready. Dane came down the stairs then, looking between us. You okay, Dad? I nodded. Yeah, bud. Go on up. I'll be up in a minute. He hesitated, but went. Marlena poured the rest of her wine down the sink. Her hands were shaking. You think this is all my fault, she said, not looking at me. No, I said. But I think you stopped loving me a long time ago and didn't have the decency to say it. You think you're a saint? She snapped. You think I didn't try? You think I liked waking up every day wondering if I'd made a mistake marrying someone who never left this town, who never dreamed of more? I blinked. Then why stay? Because I didn't know how to leave, she said. Because I didn't want to be the villain. You became one anyway. We stood in silence. I'll sleep on the couch tonight, she said. Do whatever you want. She went upstairs without another word. And I sat in the dark, alone with the ticking of the old clock above the mantel, listening to the wind rattle the back door. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just waited. Because it wasn't over yet. 3 weeks later, Marlena moved out. It wasn't some dramatic exit. There were no screaming matches, no suitcase throwing, no crying on the porch while neighbors peeked through blinds. Just a U-Haul, a few taped-up boxes, and a silence so thick you could chew it. She didn't even look me in the eye when she loaded the last of her things. Dane didn't say a word to her, just watched from the steps, arms crossed. When she was done, she lingered in the doorway like she wanted me to say something. I didn't. She adjusted the strap of her purse. You think you've won something? I leaned against the doorframe. Calm. No, Marlena. I just stopped losing. She left without another word. The divorce went smoother than anyone expected because she didn't expect how prepared I was. Every document, every bill, every text, cataloged, dated, labeled. Terry, my lawyer, had it all in order. Marlena tried to fight for the house. She didn't get it. She tried to argue for spousal support. Didn't get that either. She didn't realize I had everything itemized. The sushi, the wine, the dates with Owen, the personal purchases on our joint card. All of it showed up in court. All of it in her name. Terry called it strategic clarity. I called it payback without the poison. Dane chose to stay with me, legally and emotionally. His choice carried weight in the proceedings, and the judge didn't push it. We kept the house. I gave Marlena a small lump sum to buy her silence and freedom. She took it. Of course she did. Last I heard, she and Owen were renting a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. He lost his job 6 months in. Word is she's working part-time at a salon now, telling clients how crazy her ex-husband was. I let her talk. Let her spin her stories. Because I had what mattered, my son, my peace, and the knowledge that I walked out with my dignity intact. It wasn't just about getting revenge. It was about reclaiming myself. I went back to work. Slower at first, with the hand, but the guys were patient. They knew. One of the welders, Jimmy, gave me a pat on the back when I came in. Glad you're back, he said. Heard things got rough. I nodded. They did. But I'm still here. Damn right you are. I fixed up the house. Repainted the living room. Took out that old recliner she hated and replaced it with 2 new ones. One for me, one for Dane. We watched baseball together again. Ate burgers. Talked about college. One Saturday, I found him in the garage, messing with a socket wrench. You know, I said, I thought I lost you for a while there. He looked up. I thought I lost you too. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. We just nodded and kept working. That was enough. I started dating again eventually. Nothing serious. Coffee here, dinner there. I didn't rush it. I wasn't looking for fireworks. Just companionship. Conversation that didn't come with eye rolls or thinly veiled contempt. Sometimes people ask me what I'd do differently if I could go back. The truth? Nothing. Because every quiet insult, every empty stare, every bite of overpriced sushi she ordered on my dime, it all led to the man I am now. Stronger, clearer, whole. She thought she broke me, but she built the best version of me without meaning to. That's the kind of revenge I can live with. Months passed. The silence in the house wasn't heavy anymore. It was peaceful. Like a storm had finally passed and left clean air behind. Dane settled into his own rhythm. He joined the school's auto club. Started staying after to work on old engines. Sometimes he'd come home with grease on his cheek and that half smile of his, tossing me a spark plug like it was treasure. Think I could fix up an old one? He asked one night, nodding toward the driveway. I smiled. You help me strip the parts. I'll help you rebuild it. We had something now that wasn't just about being father and son. We had trust. A shared life we were finally living on our terms, not hers. One weekend, we drove out to the lake. Same place I used to take Marlena when things were still good. Dane climbed the rocks. I brought a folding chair and a 6-pack of root beer. We didn't talk much, just sat there while the water shimmered in the late afternoon light. Do you miss her? He asked quietly. I didn't answer right away. I thought about who she used to be. The girl with wild eyes and big plans. The woman who drifted further every year. I miss who she was, I finally said. But not who she became. He nodded. That seemed to make sense to him. That night, back home, I opened a small envelope from the courthouse. The final papers. Stamped. Signed. Filed. It was official. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I poured a glass of bourbon, sat out on the back porch, and watched the stars come out. Somewhere across town, she was probably still trying to convince Owen, or herself, that she'd made the right call. Let her. Me? I'd stopped looking back. The thing about surviving betrayal is this: you stop fearing loss. You learn to build without approval. You stop apologizing for standing your ground. I didn't need to destroy her to win. I just needed to walk away whole. And I did.